Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden. And today we're going to be doing a multi-day project in this back garden where we are going to be building a small retaining wall to help a collapsed portion of this flower bed, removing all of the fencing around and doing a general cleanup throughout. Okay, so I put this bed in about 3 years ago and it has become quite the hodgepodge of stuff. It's just, as a growing gardener, you start sticking things in different places, trying things out, and you learn a lot about it over time. And as I've learned changes that I need to make. Now, one of the biggest issues I'm going to be dealing with is I have a collapsed portion of the garden in this back corner. I originally just put in some of that plastic green barrier. This portion has collapsed and moved about 6 inches out. What I need to do is dig down about 6 inches, install a row of bricks, and do an additional stack of bricks on top in order to create more of a retaining wall, since I have a massive slope going down this direction. After that, I'm going to be removing all of this fence and I'm going to be installing that same kind of edging that I put on the other garden on the back. If you guys remember, it was made out of recycled tires. I'm going to be installing that all the way across here, and this fence is no longer going to be here. This originally was put in just to keep my dogs out. They don't mess with it as much anymore, and I feel a little bit more relaxed about them coming into the garden. It just is what it is. This is their area as well, and I am pretty good about putting, good stuff in here to make sure that they're safe. I've got a whole mess of amaranthus seedlings coming up, and they are a little bit ridiculous. And this area gets really overgrown with amaranthus, which I love and hate at the same time. I really want to control that a little bit more. I'll put a photo up so you can see what it looks like. So all of this back area is going to get, probably the back half is going to get a weed barrier, commercial grade weed barrier put down. Then I will run drip lines over it, and then from there we will cover this back area with mulch. This front area is not going to be getting the same kind of treatment at this point in time. I am going to be removing a bunch of the weeds area, and I am going to be heavily mulching it back over here as well, just to tap down some of the weeds. I can already see a lot of zinnia seedlings coming up. There's not a lot I can do about that right now. I am late getting to this gardening project. I wanted to get it done earlier in the season, but alas, this is where we are at. And then the other thing is I'm going to be removing my wall planter hanging design. I've had this for 3 years. I've enjoyed it, but I'm really looking to trade this up for some type of trellis, and I would love to do some type of climbing rose and clematis combination on this wall. But okay, let's take a closer look at this area that's failing. So you can see this green barrier was my original barrier, and the whole thing has come up. So the whole thing has shifted up about 6 inches backwards. So I really just need to come in here with some landscaping blocks and dig down and put it all in there, and I should be good. You can see all of my zinnias coming up already. These are Dara right there. These guys right here are drumstick allium. This is phlox, lots of beautiful phlox. You can see the iris are coming up. They're about to bloom. They're looking really, really good. And there's some other varieties back here of bulbs. I can't recall what they are, but I'll be cleaning up this whole back portion. I do have a lot of other seedlings I'm going to be putting in, so I'm not really stressed about pulling up this stuff, even if it is a cut flower seedling. You can see a lot of massive weeds. I do have three I think they're heliotrope, but I could be saying that wrong, sunflowers back here. I'll put a picture in the name below so you can see what it looks like. I have a few more iris right here. I'm probably going to go ahead and pull them up just so that they're not in the way. Since I have so many over here, I feel fine about this. And I'll run my weed barrier as far over as I possibly can. But check out all of those amaranthus seedlings, guys. It's ridiculously out of control. There must be thousands and thousands. All that red tone you see, that's all amaranthus seedlings. So this will all come up. All these daffodils, these are a bunch of leftover gladiolas that I tried to remove multiple times. But you can see why it is time for me to really just put some weed barrier down, focus on some individual plants back here, and really kind of clean this space up. It is stressing me out This space only looks good when it's really, really filled with flowers, and that doesn't happen very often throughout the season since all of these flowers kind of bloom and hit their climax at different points in time. But let's go ahead and start by getting the fence down so that I don't have to climb over it, and then we'll start the cleanup. Okay, so this is the area over here where there's the collapse wall. You can see like this is all the grass, but this here is the actual portion that's kind of given out, which makes sense. I mean, that was a cheap plastic thing. And so basically what I'm gonna do is just pull some of this grass back a little bit. This is St. Augustine grass, so it's actually pretty easy to pull out, at least in my opinion. We are trying to replace all of our grass with St. Augustine. We currently have Bermuda, and I don't like Bermuda. So anyway, so here's what I'm thinking. The retaining wall is going to have to come to about right here in this area. And I'm just looking at the basic landscaping blocks to utilize that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just digging down about a foot right here, making space for the landscape blocks, what this landscape block is going to be. And then what I will do is after that, we'll probably go to the big box store and get the landscaping blocks so you can see what I'm getting, how much they cost. Ideally, I would love like some beautiful custom made stone situation, but that's not a budget thing for me. Maybe someday, y'all. Maybe if this YouTube channel gets 1 million subscribers. But that's not something I can do, and I'm not really in a place to hire somebody to do that. So I've got to work with what I have and the knowledge base that I have, and I need a solution that's a fairly quick fix. I'm not wanting to spend weeks and weeks on this project. And then I typically, based on my schedule with my kids, I only have like a few hours at a time. So I don't have like, a 10 or 12 hour day to devote to this. So this is the solution that I come up with. Are there better ways? Perhaps. Are there more creative ways? Absolutely. Are there fancier ways? Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of different things, but this is what I'm doing for me to fit my budget, to fit the time crunch that I'm in, and to, fix this situation so that this whole garden doesn't continue to slide this direction. Okay, so what I've done is I basically dug like a moat all the way across here. This is the area that is sloping back. Once you get over here, it gets level, so I don't need a retaining wall there. So I think I'm going to need like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I'll probably get 16 bricks or landscaping bricks. I don't know what to call them, but they're for retaining walls. They're everywhere. I'm sure you've seen them 1 million times. But I'm thinking I'm going to get 16 of them to start off with and work them into this spot and then go from there. Basically, I'll put them in here. I'll use a rubber mallet to level them off into place right here, and then I'll do another row on top of it. And once both those rows are in, I'll come back with a lot of the soil, and I will backfill right behind the edge of it. Now on the other side, I'm probably going to backfill with compost or something like that, just to make sure I'm not adding any kind of grass back into the garden. It's a constant battle no matter what on Bermuda grass. Those of you who have pulled, this is not, well, I don't know what that root is, but those of you who pulled Bermuda grass before know that it's a bear. This is a Bermuda grass. This is one of its roots right there. After you've been doing it for a long time, you just kind of start to recognize them and the way they look. And so you want these pieces, because each of these pieces, wherever there's a node, it will make roots. So you want to make sure that you're going through. This is a root to something else. I don't know what it is, what it's to. But we want to make sure that we're as careful as possible. There's no way to get rid of all of it. I've never been able to get rid of all Bermuda grass. It is just part of my gardening experience. Buffy's enjoying. We ended up pulling up a few of the, what do you call it? A few of the drumstick alliums. So everything smells like onions right now. But let's head over to the big box store and get the landscape bricks we need. Okay, so I ended up picking up these 10-inch retaining wall Ozark blend. It's kind of like a brownish color, 3 inches high, 10 inches wide, almost 6 inches deep. That's what they look like. And I ended up getting 20 of them to start off with. And yeah, I did a terrible job stacking it, but let's see how it does. Okay, so basically the idea, this isn't I'm not using concrete on this, and while I do think that this retaining wall will last for a while, it's not going to last forever and ever and ever, but it should do pretty well. So what you're wanting to do is there's a ridge part on this, and you want that portion to go down. So what we're going to do is get it in place, hit it down, kind of straighten it up a little bit, and then I do have a level to make sure that I'm not too far off. Okay. And then so what I'm going to be doing is going around and putting the first layer like this down. And then I'll come back and I'll overlay the second layer with a wedge on top. So they'll be alternating. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I did end up going up 3 high over there, so I do think I need to get 1, 2, 3 more to finish out so that it will kind of taper off this end. And then starting right here is where I will start the recycled rubber barrier. And then I know y'all are like, why don't I continue this? Well, I don't love the look of this stone. I don't want it across my garden. I want a little bit of a softer edge. And this gives you a really hard to find edge. So I'm going to go with this first, And then I'm going to look for the rocks that you put on top that clean this up. I think that'll be really good. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the soil, I'm going to tuck it back in around this bottom layer, see how far down this bottom layer sunk. You're really not even going to see the bottom layer. But I'm going to go ahead and tuck some more of that soil around there, and then I'll probably finish for today and start up again tomorrow. Okay, looking good. I've got the wall planter down. It held up pretty good for 3 years old. I'm gonna be letting that go. And then I have gone in and added the weed barrier to the area where I'm wanting to prevent the amaranthus from coming up. Now I do have a little bit of amaranthus over here, so maybe this will take and spread this way, which would be lovely. But now this is set up really good for what I'm aiming for. So the next big thing I need to do, a couple of different things. I'm going to run some additional drip lines through here in between these, just to get more water to this garden. And then after that, I need to come back through with the edging. The edging is over here. So that got the Vigoro 4-foot no dig edging. It's the same edging that I used on this bed right there. And I'm going to use the same method where I use construction glue to secure it to the plastic barrier like this one that's already over there. But we'll get that started too. Okay, it's going to be a little loud because the neighborhood kids are out and they're having a really good time. Okay, so we are finished with this project for now. So I've got the little mini retaining wall. I didn't get any additional bricks for now because I kind of like the steps down a little bit, but we'll see how everything grows, and I can always add additional ones as needed. And then we have the rubber mulch, the rubber trim all the way around the edge, dividing it from the grass, and I did dig up. And you can see some of the glue that I used all along there a little bit. I kind of almost use it like a caulking. And then the grass will grow up over this, so you won't see any of that. I laid out a bunch of thick mulch underneath the additional lines. So I did put additional drip lines in and over the top of the additional lines. And I do have a commercial grade wheat barrier. And then this is my newest install right here. This is a headboard that I got for $35. I think she said it was either a full or a queen headboard that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. $35. I'm thrilled with it. And it's already got a little bit of rust on it. I don't care if it rusts up. I think it'll be fabulous. I used the existing holes that I already had from the wall planter on there. And you can see the little blue screws. Those are concrete screws. I think that what I'm also going to do is I'm probably going to go back in and use some like wire to kind of wire them to the screws just to make sure it's nice and safe. So that's gorgeous. So the plan is to have a rose here that goes and climbs up this wall. And I'm thinking I'm going to do this rose over here because this is too tight of a walkway. So this rose right here is a climbing rose called America. And it is absolutely beautiful. And it's absolutely a beautiful climber. And it gets canes that are 10 to 12 feet tall. And I think that'll work really, really well over here. I think that'll work really, really well over here with coral roses, coral pink roses climbing all over that. Oh, I'm so excited. This is really coming together. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video working in the garden. I didn't actually work with any plants. This was a lot of structural stuff that I've been wanting to change out little by little, and this was a multiple day project. I kind of like would work on it and then do something else and then come back to it, and that worked out really great. Eventually this mulch will transition all the way across. I just didn't get started early enough before all the seedlings came up. And so what I'll do is I'll probably wait till winter when everything dies off, and then I'll complete the mulch all the way across, which I think will be really good for water retention. I think it'll be really great, especially during the heat of the summer. I'm in love with the trellis. $35. So I do encourage you all, as always, to really look for alternative options to the typical gardening trellises and stuff. A trellis this large for gardening, you know, I just saw some at Homegrown and they were $200 a piece, $189. And I would have needed, well, one would have fit here, but I mean, $35, you can't beat that. I mean, this is not like some antique heirloom situation. This is just a mass-produced headboard, and so putting it up here, oh, I'm so excited. It's going to look really, really good. So what I'll do next is this area is I'll probably be installing the rose bush. So let me ask y'all a question. I currently have the climber in a pot. I could install the pot right here, lift it up so it drains well, and then just train the rose here. Or should I put that into the garden, like directly into the garden bed? I'm leaning towards leaving the pot here. I like the idea of raising it up a little bit, just so that it has better airflow, because I do plan on planting a bunch of stuff around the base of it. So you guys let me know. And should I put the pot in the corner, or put the rose in the corner, or should I put it in the center? If it goes in the center, I can obviously go up like this. If I put it in the corner, I can go across in a big slash. Both, I like both options. You guys tell me, should I keep the rose in the pot or put it in the ground? Or should I put the rose in the center or put it in the corner? You guys let me know what your thoughts are on that. All right, you all, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when my latest videos are up. And make sure you check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.